Most men who are abused never tell anyone. They don't tell friends, they don't tell family, police, loved ones, doctors, nobody. And often the ones who do end up regretting it. I'm Jared Whitaker. I'm an author, speaker, and advocate for issues such as domestic abuse. I focus on issues that affect men. What I'd like to do in this video is cover kind of three topics around this idea of reporting abuse. Why men don't report abuse, what happens if they do report abuse, and then what needs to change in order to make this more accessible and easy for men. So let's start with why men don't report abuse. And there's lots of reasons. I'm not going to cover everything in this video, but let's start with the fact that a lot of men don't actually realize they are being abused. Unless the abuse is physical, a lot of men, and this was myself included, tend to think that it's something else, like, oh, she's just nagging me, or, it's just a stressful time or something. They don't understand that emotional abuse, psychological abuse, financial abuse, mental abuse is domestic abuse. So that covers one main area. Another big area is often the stigma around it. So, you're a guy, you shouldn't be letting someone abuse you, or this doesn't happen to men, or, men don't talk about their problems, they just bottle it up, so you don't tell anyone. So there's that aspect too to it. Then there's the infrastructure aspect. Who do you even report this to? Are there organizations out there where you can go to as a man? Are the police equipped to handle you when you go and, make an allegation saying that you're being domestically abused? So that's another stumbling block for men, where they feel like they're, maybe they don't understand they're being abused. If they do, maybe they think they better shut up about it because they don't want to be found out. And then who do they report it to? And another big issue is they're scared of the repercussions, because they're often told by their abuser things like, if you tell people I'm abusing you, I'm going to say it was you, you're a man, they'll arrest you, you won't see your children again. And there's lots of threats as part of the abuse that keeps them in line with this kind of thing. So that's a very high level, why men don't report. There's obviously more to it than that, but just a very high level covering those things. I want to move on to next, what happens when they do report. So this is very varying depending on where you are, how lucky you get, who you are, but I can talk from my experiences of what happened when I came forward, and from experiences of a lot of other men that I talked to. So when I went to the police, they didn't believe me. They laughed at me. They said, get out of here. You're having us on. You're having a big joke. Big guy like me saying that I was being abused doesn't happen. So that was one experience I had. I had similar experiences in court, where I was looked at as, well, you're the man. It must be you. It can't possibly be a woman abusing you. A lot of other things happen where there's a lot of shame. People are looking at you different. There's obviously stories from your abuser saying their side of it, that they're trying to picture you as the abuser, or that you're lying, or trying to do something against them. They start their whole smear campaign against you. So there's a lot of stuff, negative stuff, that happens when you do come forward. And by no means am I saying don't come forward, because you should. But this is about arming you with the truth and an understanding of what can happen. Now, tied into all of those things, we have the third section of this, which is what needs to change. Now, obviously there needs to be more training and understanding for organizations such as the police, social workers, courts, etc., around the fact that men most definitely can be abused. It does happen. It happens quite frequently. 1 in 3 men are victims of domestic abuse. A lot of men don't come forward. So it is something that needs more and more education and more understanding on this issue. Now, the other thing that needs to change is just we as a society need to understand that abuse has no gender. Bad people abuse people. Men abuse women, women abuse men, women abuse women, men abuse men. If you're an abuser, you are scum. And if you're an abuse victim, you should get the help and support that you need. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. No one should be abusing anyone. And everyone who gets abused should have the right to get supported and be helped to get out of that situation and then move on and heal. So there really needs to be that understanding that it does happen, that it's not a competition about whether it's happening to men or to women. Everyone needs help. Everyone needs support. And there needs to be more organizations out there that are focused on the fact that this can happen to anyone. And while abuse has no gender, men can get abused and women can get abused, men and women are very different and they need very different things for coming forward, for healing. So while I get, a lot of people say things like, oh, you shouldn't talk about just men or just women because you're making it a gendered issue. The abuse itself is not gendered, but the support needed is, because men and women are very different. So those are a couple of high-level things that need to change. All of it starts with understanding and education, understanding what is happening, understanding what someone is going through, understanding that guy who came in late to work today, or who looks down, or who looks stressed. Maybe there's something more going on there. Maybe not. Maybe there is. This is just about us as people being empathetic to those around us and learning about this. So this was just a little video I wanted to do to kind of start the conversation going. I'd love to hear in the comments whether, what other things stopped you reporting if you were in this situation, or what other things do you think need to change? How can we make it easier for men and women to come forward? And guys, if you've been through this, or you're on the other side or going through it, please reach out in the comments. Let's have a chat, see what either we can do to help or help other people. And if you're someone who wants to try and help, maybe put a book to help educate someone in the hands of a man who's in crisis or needs it, please have a look in the description below. There is a link to the campaign that I'm running called Leave No Man Behind, where we're placing books in the hands of men in crisis. That's currently on multiple continents, multiple countries already, so please take a look and get involved in that. But yeah, please drop a comment, drop your thoughts. Let's get this conversation going, because the more we can talk about this openly and freely, the better it is for everyone. Thanks everyone, and have a great day.